I fully believe that cash flow investing is the best way for the average Joe to become financially independent before full retirement age. To be clear, investing over a period of 20 to 30 years in low-cost index funds will lead to financial security in retirement. But I want to get there much sooner if possible to create more options for my family and so I can use my time to help other people around me. That's why I love cash flow investing. In this video, I'm going to explain what I believe are the 5 different levels of cash flow investing. Every level delivers cash flow, and you don't have to move up the levels to be successful, though I believe the cash flow opportunities are better and increase the higher you go. This is the most straightforward and simple way to earn cash flow. When you invest in a dividend ETF, you invest in the fund which then goes out into the marketplace and buys investments that pay dividends and distributions. The fund diversifies your portfolio for you by buying anywhere from 25 to hundreds, even thousands of different dividend stocks for you. In exchange, they charge a fee to do this and to manage the portfolio for you moving forward. This is known as an expense ratio. This is a great way for new dividend investors to get started. You don't need to make decisions on the thousands of different dividend investments available in the marketplace. Instead, you just need to figure out which dividend ETF most aligns with your investing objectives. There are some great dividend ETFs available. My favorite is SCHD, the Schwab US Equity Dividend ETF. This ETF follows the Dow Jones US Dividend 100 Index. They currently hold 101 different dividend-paying stocks, including Coca-Cola, the Home Depot, Texas Instruments, IBM, and Pfizer. SCHD currently pays an annual dividend of $2.43 per share, which equates to a dividend yield of 3.25%. What I really like about SCHD is it has consistently raised their annual dividend every year for 9 consecutive years. It is very difficult to find dividend ETFs that consistently raise their dividend every year. Furthermore, SCHD is very balanced and has grown its share price from $26 a share in 2011 to $77 a share here in 2022. The downside to dividend ETFs is it is difficult to find yields exceeding 3 to 4%. It doesn't mean you need yields higher than this amount to be successful as a dividend investor though. It just means some of the opportunities we will be talking about next are not available to you. By the way, I choose to lump high yield covered call ETFs in this category as well. I'm not a huge fan of them unless you need cash flow right now to live on. I believe the other opportunities we talk about from this point forward are better for the average Joe unless, like I said, you need cash flow right now and do not have further opportunities to grow your portfolio. The natural progression from owning dividend ETFs would be to own individual dividend stocks. You might be thinking to yourself, why would I do that if dividend ETFs diversify my portfolio for me? Well, there are a few reasons. Number one, you avoid the expense ratio of the dividend ETF. To be fair, some dividend ETFs have really small expense ratios which really don't impact you. So this reason in and of itself is not a great one. Number two, many dividend ETFs do not consistently raise their dividend every year. On the contrary, there are many different dividend stocks, over 700 of them to be exact, that have a long and consistent track record of raising their dividend. Some companies have been increasing their dividend for 25 to 50 years and beyond. Consistent and increasing dividend payments is a great way to combat inflation, especially when companies increase the dividend every year by more than 5%. And many do this. Number 3, picking individual dividend stocks also allows you to increase your dividend yield. There are nearly 50 dividend stocks yielding more than 5% currently, and it's difficult to find dividend ETFs that yield this much that do not charge a hefty expense ratio. To be fair, this takes more work because you need to ensure each dividend stock has a safe dividend and monitor it going forward. Additionally, you have to take steps to diversify your portfolio. In my mind though, it's worth it. Now, once you make the decision to own individual dividend stocks, a very natural progression to increase your cash flow is to begin selling covered calls on your existing positions. When I say covered calls, I mean selling call option contracts which obligate you to sell 100 shares to the option buyer if the price of a stock exceeds the strike price by expiration. This is simple and straightforward because you already own the dividend stock that you are selling call options on. When you sell options, you collect premium in the same way an insurance company collects auto insurance premium from you. They have an obligation to pay for damages for a covered event such as a car accident or a car theft. You might be thinking, why on earth would I want to start selling insurance? Cash flow, baby. Cash flow. Here's a quick example. Let's say you own 100 shares of Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola currently pays an annual dividend of $1.76 per share. and the current dividend yield is approximately 2.73%. Given you own 100 shares of Coca-Cola, you would collect approximately $176 every year from this dividend stock. But what if you sold covered calls against this position as well? Here's the option chain for Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is currently priced at $64.50 per share. Let's be conservative and decide that we are going to sell a call option with a strike price above the current stock price, also known as out of the money, at $67, which expires September 23rd, 2022. Which is 39 days from today. If the price does not end up above $67, then the option is worthless, and you keep all of the option premium. When you sell this option contract, you would receive approximately $34. Now, it doesn't sound like much, but it does add up. Let's assume you can sell this option contract 9 times a year, given the 39 days to expiration. $34 per contract times 9 contracts equals $306 every year. Now, our annual cash flow is $482. Which based on the current share price is a yield of 7.47%. That is much better than 2.73% yield, and you hold a company that continues to raise their dividend every year for 60 plus years. You also get price appreciation by holding this company. Coca-Cola is a very conservative dividend stock, and there are many other dividend stocks with much more dividend income and option premium available. By merely selling call options on the positions you already own, you magnify the cash flow you are already receiving, and you expedite the process of living on your cash flow in the future. The wheel strategy introduces a new type of option selling strategy of selling cash secured puts, which complements selling covered calls. When you sell cash secured puts, you are creating a contract in which you are agreeing to buy, not sell, buy 100 shares of a stock at a specific price if it is reached. Think about it this way. Going back to our Coca-Cola example, let's say you do not currently own Coca-Cola and you have sufficient cash on hand to purchase 100 shares, but you don't want to pay $64.50 per share. What if you wanted to pay $63 a share instead? You can sell a put option with a $63 strike price, which expires in 18 days, and receive approximately $40 for your efforts. If the price ends up below $63, then you get assigned 100 shares of Coke at $63 per share. At this point, you could begin selling covered calls on Coca-Cola and collect option premium and dividend income. If you get assigned and your shares are called away from you, no problem. Just take that cash you receive from selling the 100 shares and go back to selling cash secured put options. This circular process of selling puts, then selling calls, and then going back to puts is known as the wheel strategy and can provide even more cash flow than just selling covered calls. Alright, so this is the stage I'm spending more of my attention on. To be clear, I still have a portfolio full of dividend stocks and many of them have covered call options sold on them. However, I feel like there are massive cash flow opportunities when you start working with index ETFs and options as a part of your cash flow portfolio. There are 3 specific large index ETFs that can be explored here. SPY, which is the largest S&P 500 index ETF, the QQQ, the largest NASDAQ 100 index ETF, and IWM, the Russell 2000 index ETF. There is significantly more trading volume in these index ETFs, which leads to more option premium being available. I personally started by selling covered calls on the IWM Russell 2000 index ETF. Now this did require me to own 100 shares of IWM, which required $19,700. QQQ actually requires approximately $33,000, and SPY requires approximately $43,000. Now, I recognize this is a significant barrier for most people and would require you to eventually work up to this level rather than start here at the beginning. One of the things I really like with these ETFs is there is an option contract expiration every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, which leads to so many more opportunities to sell options and generate cash flow. For example, I recently sold a covered call on my shares of IWM with an expiration of just 2 days and received $51 for an out-of-the-money strike price. I bought the option back after just 24 hours for $5, which is a profit of nearly $50 in just 1 day. Above and beyond selling covered calls and cash secured puts, you can utilize other types of option contracts such as credit spreads, which involve receiving cash flow but being able to participate in these ETFs with significantly less capital. This is something I'm exploring a lot more with a small portion of my cash flow portfolio. The thing to remember here is that the goal is cash flow. Whether you choose to accomplish this with dividend ETFs, running the wheel strategy, or by selling credit spreads on an index ETF is not the important part. Remember what I said at the beginning. You don't have to participate in all of these levels to be successful with cash flow investing. Cash flow investing is what's going to lead me and my family to financial freedom, and I hope this video opened your eyes to additional ideas for cash flow opportunities you were not aware of already, or affirmed that you are already on the right track yourself. You can also get an introductory lesson on options with this video right up here.